It's absolute chaos in the front of A grade right now. You can see the big lead out happening. Kurt Eather in the blue. He's fast, clean air. Kurt Eather stepping through right now. Can anybody challenge him? He's holding steady. I don't think anyone's going to get there. Kurt Eather takes the win.
Welcome, round 3, week 3, Hefron Park, Tuesday Night Heffron, another spectacular night of racing. And to simply break down the great night of racing that it was, I have a man who they once said changed a rear derailleur mid-ride while still doing his turn on the front, Mr. John Sunday. Good evening, John.
Weren't they the days? Hey, Alexi. How you doing, Vaughan?
And we've got
Hey, mate.
Vaughan McVilly, a man so excited. He's for Tuesday Night Heffron. He's probably there already, checking the weather,
Getting ready for
dusting the
next week.
track, getting ready for next week, because that's how big Tuesday Night Heffron is becoming. We've got people on the hill. There's tents on the hill. There's crowds coming from everywhere to watch what must have been some of the fastest night of racing I've seen in quite a while. But also, and before I throw to you guys, almost the first week of racing at Hefron Park, because
Wow.
finally we had some wind.
I'd back that up and say that was the first real Tuesday night, because all the new riders that thought, the first 2 weeks, this is not so bad. What a shock. 110 riders, I think, in total, and less than 30 finished. Or there were more than 30 that crossed the finish line, but if you take it on the main group that finished, less than 30. So that's about 80 riders. Big crowd on the finish line watching the finish of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. A big shout out actually to Kate Lee. She brought a whole heap of her friends down. She did a great little post actually today. Big shout out to her. There was a heap of people up on the hill too, which was awesome. Blowing, the wind was ridiculous. Lap 4 was a 2:38.
Yes, I heard your announcement of that. And
So just to put it in perspective, what are we normally lapping? A grade?
Low 240s, 243, 244.
Wow.
So another 5 seconds faster. Yep.
It is no wonder they got to the front so early. But John, sorry.
If everyone thought that Tuesday night at 6 o'clock was windy, it was actually worse at 4 o'clock. The wind at 4 o'clock was gusting at like 67 k an hour. By the time the race started, it was down to like 40 and a bit kilometers. So it could have been a lot worse. Someone reminded me about the night there were only 6 finishes. And I thought it was going to be a night like that. Well, it wasn't far off.
Yeah, I think that was because it was more of a headwind on Tuesday night as opposed to the really strong crosswinds. So when you come down the straight, sometimes, there's those weeks where you're almost blasting from side to side. This week it was a bit strange. It did feel a bit more of a headwind for a lot of the course. And I think that allowed a few riders to last a little longer. But Vaughan?
Well, Alexi, I'll tell you one thing, and I don't do this very often, but C-Grade rode beautifully right from the very first lap. They got right across the road. They echeloned across the road. They actually rode the first 5 laps far better than B-Grade did. B-Grade were putting each other in the gutter. It took a little while for them to sort themselves out.
Well, someone in B-Grade was putting B-Grade in the gutter. B-Grade weren't. Someone in B-Grade was.
So come on, John.
Okay, are you going to name him, John?
Yeah, welcome to Hefron, Charlie. It's a handicap, mate.
So first week race, I thought, hey, I'll put it in the gutter. Hey, that's also when you're riding.
And then pulls out with 5 to go and watches. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, full of beans, that lad, like my giddy Aunt Martha. We had Big Titan out for a gravel ride yesterday, and at one stage those two were off the front, and he was just like, he goes, I look down, we're doing like nearly 500 watts up the straight. I'm like, yeah, that was like 4 laps in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that race, when you do look at the finishes, as John, so officially 9 of 34 C-graders finished. That's about 26%. I'd say realistically half of those were actually in the main bunch, because the other 5, I don't think I even saw in the finishing line video. B was 19 of 43 finished, 44%, and half.
Yeah, just going on those C-grade finishes,
30.
only four finished really in the main bunch, and that was Charlie Smith, Jeremy Cannon, Ben Silverman, and Charlie Patisse. Because Lucy came in behind with Uncle Robbie, and they were a fair. So I like to try and include everybody that crosses the line.
You're a
And when I
gentleman.
got a note from Baz on Wednesday morning saying I finished with Chris and the guy in orange. Yeah, good on you, Baz.
Well, it's actually, mate, I want to give Lucy a shout out because actually in your photo, in your background, if you look just above the tee on the left-hand side, that's actually Lucy trying to get back onto the back of the group. And yeah, Robbie was literally absolutely cooked with 2 laps to go, and I shouted at him to say, Lucy's still there. And yeah, Uncle Robbie to the rescue tried to drag Lucy around for one last lap. I've actually got her exact lap times for every lap. And obviously, when A grade caught, the C graders were basically averaging
And I
306s
think
all night.
that was about was that 3 to go? Three to
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. So 3 to go, you guys went from a 307, and the next lap was a 256, and then it was a 244 and a 248. And then her last lap was a 252 with Robbie just trying to drag it to the finish line. So it was a pretty epic effort for Luce.
It's interesting when you talk about Lucy there getting the help of the other Allens. We also had Charlie Smith has now brought his lead out man. We had Calvin joining in and directing C grade.
Yeah, I don't think he needed Calvin though.
Calvin did a great job. He's been a little while since he's raced at Heffron, but
Yeah,
he
it
was
has. It's good to have him back.
it was good. He was nice and vocal in the C grade bunch, getting him directing, willing to do plenty of work because he knew he was just a worker. He was there. He was a worker bee, setting it all up there for the finish. Because it was probably one of the few weeks where a few times I was looking around during the race thinking, oh, where's Charlie?
Yeah.
And so I think he got a bit more of a free ride a little bit this week as his dad kindly said, look, rest up, son. I'll get you to the finishing line. And I'll get you the last couple of laps and you do the rest. Because look, once again, he certainly stepped up and delivered Charlie. Is that his last race in C grade, John, or you think he's still got a
Yeah,
couple?
and he accepted that, and he reckons he's ready for B grade, and you can't deny it. I mean, 3 outstanding wins, and putting that in perspective, there's most probably 12 guys in the main group across the line, and he was 13th. And he had Paul Steckel, who backed up his B grade win from last week with another strong ride last night. And then you got to drop, it drops to another 12 places to the second place getter in C grade to Jeremy. So just on C grade, congratulations, Charlie, 3 wins in a row. Welcome to B grade. Another good ride by Jeremy Cannon. He's had exams the last couple of weeks, so it was good to see him back. And welcome back, the heir to the Chargrill Charlie Chicken Empire, Ben Silverman.
Right.
So
And
Ben hadn't raced at Heffron for a number of years, and I know Ben's going quite well at the moment. He rode well down at Barrel a couple of weekends ago, and I've seen him training in the park. And it was his option to ride C grade just to settle back in. And I get a message from his father late on Tuesday night. Ben, C grade, WTF. So I thought that was quite funny. But and then also just to complete the C grade finishes, Charlie Petit's 4th. And then Lucy, and that was about it. And then the others were really just coming in in ones and twos to finish. And just also in C grade, first time, 15-year-old Sebastian Chulab, who came down from Newcastle with his dad, Daniel. Daniel was a frequent Tuesday night participant a few years ago. And I thought he did really well, young Sebastian.
he rode
He looked comfortable.
really well. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was, for those that were during the race, I'll probably pop a photo. He was in the 5211 kit, and I was impressed by how kind of, I suppose, aggressive he was riding for
Oh, his
for a
positioning.
first time. His positioning was
Yeah.
really strong. And
Yeah.
secondly, as well, normally that first week or two, you think, oh, he'll do 1 or 2 laps at the front and then disappear, or simply, find his way. But he was throughout the whole race. I didn't realise that was his son of Daniel.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Maybe
Yeah.
Daniel, he'll have to make the comeback as well.
Well, Daniel raced in B grade.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's great news. Yeah, no, he rode really well, Sebastian. So there you go, first timer doing well. Talk about juniors doing well. So you had Sebastian, you've got Charlie Smith. The big news of the week, though, was Paul Craft, Rider of the Week favourite, Ben Coates, making his big announcement about riding next year for Decathlon AG2R, I think it's a Le
Development team.
Mondial.
It's
Yeah,
called
next gen team.
Next Gen.
Next gen
Yeah.
team next year in
Yeah.
Europe. So he has certainly seen that rise through Heffron, use the race experience that he gets there every week. So we've had him. We've obviously had Lucas Stevenson. He's riding. What's his team? He's the
Bahrain
the
development team.
that's right. He's in
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
he obviously went off to Rwanda earlier this year.
Yeah,
Raced for
did
the
a
World
great time
Champs
trial.
team. Kira Will. Hugh Harvey last year racing on KSM6. So you can just see this development squad, and that's obviously
Well,
why.
it's quite obvious, isn't it, Alexi? Cycling on the world stage starts at Tuesday Night Heffron.
Yeah.
100%.
And Daryl Impey actually recognised that last week when he came down, or 2 weeks ago. He said, I can see why it starts at Heffron.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're never going to make it if you don't, really. Like, I mean, a lot of people, they make it onto the big stage and you go, well, I didn't do Heffron, so their chances are just a lot less.
Well, that was one of Daryl's, we said that a couple of weeks ago. That was one of his biggest regrets. He'd won the Tour Down Under, but never won a Heffron.
Yeah. And
speaking of the race that stops the nation, we also had Richie Lang back. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So, is he going to bring his dad back as well? Oh. His dad's coming back for the point series, I think. He wants to win it again.
Yeah, and Frank's going to do the handicapping. Yeah,
right. He still looks so good on the bike, Richie Lang. Holy
he's a natural,
moly.
isn't he?
Yeah, I was just like, I know he's going to win. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, race over. That one's going to.
He's an absolute. He's got that. I'm trying to think of the Irish world champion, Stephen Roche.
Yes.
He's got that soft pedaling, natural style about him.
Supple.
Yeah.
So I think that was his first race back in about 12 years, I think. Well,
like my race database goes back to 2003, and I've got all these other names of people that had participated prior to that, and that's where his name was.
Right.
So that was a long time ago.
Wow. Yes, it was great to see him back racing. So look, everyone was starting to make their big returns to racing. But look, I just want to say, how strong are those A-grade guys? Like, they are just at the moment riding phenomenally fast. I mean, Brad Mills looks like he's never been fitter. Jack Bennett's flying. You guys can probably fill me in more about what's happening during that race or why they are going so fast. But that standard in A grade is just ridiculous.
I know he can't win the chicken, but Kurt Eather was phenomenal on Tuesday night.
Absolutely.
He was doing ridiculously big turns. So lap 1, 2, 3, 4, lap 5 was that fast one, right? At 2:38. So I've gone into his and had a look at his numbers, and I remember pretty clearly that he was pulling some really big turns down the straight. He averaged 640 watts from the hairpin to the finish line on that lap when they did a 2:38. And then to still be able to have his sprint, which was
horsepower.
He averaged 844 watts from the start of the straight to the finish line with a maximum wattage of 1322. He was just absolute dynamite. And clearly the Impey is
the Impey effect.
What's it going to take to beat him? Is he now just unbeatable at the moment?
It's going to take something pretty big. You need something.
What was that movie called? The Impress Files or something came out years ago. That's what it is. The Impey.
The Impey
effect.
Yeah, exactly.
The Impey.
You just have to think at the moment, he is unbeatable. He's sitting up with 5:10 to go.
Hey, but before we cover A grade and the overall win, why don't we just give the B grade riders a bit of a shout out? Because Vaughan, if you shift to your left or right, I think that photo shows, look, there's a good selection. Paul Stecker on the front, Reece Nolan, just on his left shoulder. And then we've got Johnny G and Ash. I can see Juan Lee in the Centennial Park. Kit, the white jersey, is Mason Ward by the look of it. And then Jupiter. And I thought they had it together really, really well.
Well, mate, I can tell you a little insight there. I caught up with Tommy Hyde before the start of the race and said, "Hey, windy, but should we have a proper crack?" And he's like, "Yep." And I said, "Right, well, from hydroplane
Tom Hyde did
perspective."
have a proper crack
Yeah, it did.
on the
I
ground.
said, we're going to chuck in at least 4 or 5 guys to go as hard as we can. We'll probably try and protect one. And he said, well, we're going to do the same. Big drops of Jupiter, just dropping watt bombs. And I really do think, and if I just look at those first lap times, they did a 53 on lap 1, but then they did a 50, a 49, a 48, a 49, a 47. So they're pretty fast laps, right?
And where did B grade get caught?
What? Everyone sort of 3 laps to go, basically.
Yeah, it was 3 to go, wasn't
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
it? Yeah.
Still
Yeah, because
a bit of
B
work
grade
to-
called C grade, and I think a lap later they were all together.
That's
Yep.
still a bit way off the front though, surprisingly. Like, there's big B grade bunch, but they still needed a bit more time to
Well,
get
no,
away
they
with it.
needed to have ridden a little bit smarter because, as I mentioned earlier, there was that one rider who thought he was doing a time trial.
Right.
And if he had just calmed down and saved his bickies and got everybody working smoother, smooth as fast.
We've had a chat.
Because because you do
No
look. There's some
sugar for
interesting
him next
results
week.
though in those B graders. Joel Shube, he got 3rd. That's probably
Yep.
his highest
Hey, I
result.
want to. When I did the results, super impressed with Joel's ride. It has I don't know how many years you have off, Joel. 15. Felt like 15. And you took up running. No future in that, mate. So good to see you back in cycling. And it's taken him a couple of years to get his feet back into the into the rhythm of racing. But my God, he's back to where he was. Big Rich Brooks, second in B grade. Another strong ride by him. He's sniffing for a victory. And Grant Holbert, once again, Masters 4 at the weekend winner, I think. He rolled Anthony Shepard in the sprint. I saw. So,
Yep. What a sprint that was too, just quietly.
yeah.
But I think that's 2 things from the weekend. I think the A grade were going faster than the Masters racing on the weekend as well, the state champs. So it's basically it was like state champs one level here.
Different style of racing, and just on A grade. I've never seen so many A graders watching the race 5 laps in ever.
Right. They just
Yeah,
went
5
together,
laps in, there were like 10 rides. I don't know about 10, but it felt like about 10.
And that's what makes it more impressive than when you look at the A grade finishes. Obviously, Eather, Penny, Mills, Standards. Then you got Ben Coates, Lucas Stevenson. Lucas Stevenson was another one doing a mountain of work and constantly working. Super impressive. Then you've got Tom Bolton, Dan Newman working away.
Oh, shout out to Dan Newman. Another great ride, 4th across the line.
Yep. Jack Bennett, Andre Dubier. It's good to see him now being a regular as well. He's a bit of an animator.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. He likes to have a go, doesn't he? But just going back to some of those riders that were ended up watching the finish of the race on the sideline, when you see guys like Mick Cupid, Will Clark, and Richie Lang, Chris Ling, Alex Malone, Ryan O'Keefe, and Ant Shepard watching the race, that it's on.
Yeah.
And we knew it was on from the start because what was the deal with the C grade handicap? You basically let B and C go off together. I mean,
that's the only way you can give them the best chance. That's the only way you can give them the best chance to start.
But when B and C grade say, "Oh, we need to get a better handicap," there were people that it was before. They were basically almost touching. It was like A, B grade roll out, and just as the last roll around, C grade roll out. It was just like one continuous wave.
Yeah, I was going to give them 10 seconds, but I think someone else on the microphone said, C grade, go.
I'd never seen
Duffy was just like, go!
I'd never seen such a short handicap. It was just like, there wasn't one.
What was hilarious is too is that group of 6 that just burst out of the front. So I remember looking up to the pimple, and there's a group of 6 C graders like literally nearly tacking onto the back of B grade on lap 1. I'm like,
were they really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking that we can get there.
We can get them.
Good thing also, by the time they got to the hairpin, they were off the back, and B grade were moving away cleanly, just to show you that gap of speed was pretty. But yeah, no, that A grade. Those guys. The other ones who did finish, Riyadh, he's stepping up every week.
Riyadh stepped up. Riad stepped up a long time ago.
Yeah, he's
He
doing
is
well.
an
Isn't he?
engine.
He's a motor. Yeah, absolutely. I
Yes.
agree.
Then you got Chris Miller, obviously, Phil Lucas, Tom Gray. Another guy seemed to be constantly very close to front. Edwin and Gwen.
How about Edwin's last lap turn?
Oh, took a
That looked
launch.
painful.
Yeah, hey, that's pain face written all over it.
He was doing well. Was that I think was it yourself, Vaughan, or was it Angus who caught up with him after the race and asked, like,
Yeah,
how
me.
did that happen there? And so what was he thinking there? Was that an actual go for glory, or was it?
Well, I think his thoughts on it was like, if I go, that might force Eather to chase and might tire him out a little bit.
Yep.
And then Ollie can come off his wheel.
Yep.
Yeah, then Ollie
Okay.
can come off his wheel. So that was the thoughts.
And how did that go for Ollie?
Well, not great.
But look, you got to try something, right?
Exactly. To be honest, hats off to the team.
It was great, and it's been a while, and that's one of the beauties when the race settles down with a couple of laps to go. The A graders can actually start racing, because until they catch, they're actually not racing; they're just trying to catch. And that was great to watch. Also, wanted to point out: did anyone else notice the similarity in the podiums between week 3 and week 2? Like, identical, apart from the fact that Jack Bennett was in the first week 2 podium, and Millsy was in week 3. Otherwise, everyone's the same.
Yeah.
The only person we haven't spoken about was Kira Will, was obviously our first female over the line. So once again, she's just dominating at the moment, isn't she?
Yeah, certainly is. And just on that, so 2 women finished. Kira at the back of B grade. She was in the last group across the line, around about 30th spot. And then we had young Lucy Allen, who got to the line. And we would have had a third female finisher, Nicole Wilson.
Yes.
But unfortunately, she didn't get through the last corner, ended up on her elbow. So best wishes for a speedy recovery, Nicole. I know what a fractured elbow's like. Spoke to her today, and turns out we've got matchy fractures.
Right. Is it a handwriting side, or is she fortunate?
I think hers is her left, judging by the photo she sent me. The speedy recovery, Nicole. Not nice in any circumstances, but you'll be back bigger, better, and faster than ever, I'm sure.
All the best to Cole. Also, we probably should give a shout out to Tommy Hyde. He had more skin off than arsehole to breakfast time, so he had a lot of skin off, but he's okay. I spoke to him this afternoon.
He rode home. I think he rode home. Yeah. And thanks also, just on that, as always, to our good friends, the St John's ambulance team from Paddington. It's been so good that we didn't have to call on their services once in the last 2 weeks and 14 laps.
Nicole was just glad that they had a whistle, though. They had the whistle.
Oh, is that right? I didn't hear about the whistle.
Yeah, she was. I'm pretty sure she was.
Roy's
got
nothing. Roy Greenpepper's got nothing to do the whole race. He just walks around chatting. He loves it.
Thinking about Tommy Hyde and losing all that skin, we could have put him on the grill, and we could put him on the Chargrill Charlies grill in order while we work out who is the most infamous rider of the week for week 3. With such an A grade domination, B grade probably feel like they're getting a bit hard done by at these rider of the week votes.
Well, normally all riders are in the pool for the Chargrill Chicken Rider of the Week award, but we've got to exclude Ben Silverman because he already eats 4 chicken burgers a day. Well, I assume he does. I'm sure. Sorry, Ben, it's not you.
So John, who would you then be? Who are you thinking for your rider of the week? It's a bit of an unusual one. Like, we literally have the same podium as the last race. And you're like, well...
I know, but the dynamic of the race and the way the race unfolds is different. And the 4 obvious ones are the 4 winners. Kira winning the women's, Charlie Smith backing up 3 in a row in C grade, Paul Steckel 2 in a row in B grade, and of course Kurtz raced 3 times in 10 days at Hefron, in 3. He raced 4 times, hasn't he?
Yep.
No, state titles and 2 Tuesday nights, won them all.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to go with Paul Steckel, and I'll tell you why.
Paul Steckel.
Second time, new to Sydney. I thought his first ride wasn't a fluke, but he did really well last week, but backed it up and super, super strong, doesn't shirk anything, really puts in.
Yep.
So I'm going for Paul Steckel.
Okay.
Better than eating Frankfurters, Paul.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw it. I think Kira Will was exceptional. I think I know I've already said I do think Lucy Allen's ride was good because one other little bit that I forgot to add that I want to add is that she sort of got done over by her dad. He massively dropped the wheel halfway through the race, and she had to come around him. And little Jimmy Allen, who was on her wheel, and she had to chase for nearly half a lap to get back into the group. And I thought, that's it, her race is done. That's a lot of energy to spend in the windy conditions, but to still get to the finish line, I thought it was amazing. And so I actually thought she was first girl, but then I realised Kira Will was still chopping off. She was pulling turns. Kira Will for me was just absolutely exceptional. I would normally say Kurt Eather, but we have the rule. The winner can't get the chicken.
Oh, I don't think it's a rule. I think if he's the best rider on the night,
he was definitely the best rider on the night, I think, by a gazillion miles.
Yeah. I am going to continue my flavour of what has been for this podcast, and that is I'm going to recognise all those hard workers in A grade who probably don't get the props that they deserve. So I would almost kind of say Riyadh, but particularly I like Tom Gray, Edwin Britz, and Gwen Evelyn as my 4.
Straight away, all those guys need at least a chicken burger in them anyway.
Like those guys, they just do the work every week relentlessly.
And potentially a girlfriend.
And they just... it just like as a rider and just being out there and seeing what they can do, it just astounds me. And the fact that they can just sit on the front and do so much work, and they probably just don't get that recognition, even the call outs from us in the podcast, enough to recognize the great work that they do. We probably can't give it to Edwin purely because he probably didn't enter the race, so it's like not finishing technically.
On that, he did, sort of,
maybe,
couple of others that didn't.
So he can maybe he can give the voucher. We can give him the voucher. He can give it back to you, John. It can kind of just be that whole now we're even. So I suppose in a way, I don't know. I'd probably take it from you guys. Either it'd be Tom Gray or therefore Gwen Evelyn there who would get my rider of the week. But it doesn't matter because we're actually all 3 different. So I don't know how we now come to some kind of consensus.
So what do we do? This is the first time it's ever happened. We might have to ring Crafty and get the Crafty, he makes a decision.
I think, I just think from...
Call a friend.
Well, Crafty voted Ben Coates. For his amazing 4th place. So now we've got four different riders being picked from. But I think I have given the greatest explanation of why my rider should win. I mean, Lucy Allen, technically, a bit too far back, I think. And also, that's because of her family. I mean, she's just going to have to argue with the family and say they cost her rider of the week because she would have been further up.
Yeah.
Steve, you're not getting any chicken.
Yeah.
Look, I think what John was saying now, having a bit of think about, I think the Steckel probably deserves it. As you said, he's new to Sydney. He's gone back to back, and he doesn't.
I just think he's ridden with strength, maturity, and he's got the hang of the concept of the race in 2 races, which I might point out someone else who raced on B grade on Tuesday night didn't get the hang of. It's really important. Really impressed with Paul.
Look, maybe Chargrill Charlies might serve sauerkraut. I don't know. Sauerkraut, some baked potatoes.
I think they might do a sauerkraut on the side.
Paulie, he'll be
I've seen their salad bar.
He will be. All righty. Well, with that, you've got 2 against 3. So, all the A-graders, they can let me tow me home on the weekend or something. But, therefore, Paul Steckel, you are week 3.
One up,
Paulie. Paul.
Paul.
It was, unexpected. Unexpected. Wow, the disrespect to the A graders. Anyway, I'll let it go. I suppose with that, we're up to Spurge's last lap.
Doesn't have anyone roll through. Look at it.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Ideas? Anything that we're missing out on? I think overall, I mean, look, the crowds are getting bigger and bigger every week.
Thanks to the wind.
Thanks to the wind. Look, volunteers again did an amazing job. I think entries are obviously open up on Bunchier for
they're
next
open
week.
now. I've just
Must be
had a
couple
quick
of
look at
weeks.
the weather forecast, and we have got sunny, clear weather for all the early part of next week, 14 to 24 degrees next Tuesday, and sun. And of course, you know what that means. With the sun comes the wind.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
we must be a few weeks away from our first. When's our first monument?
No, not. It's the week before Christmas. So that's
okay. Still got a bit of time. Still got a bit of time.
Still another
Keep
month
building
away.
the form. So predictions for next week. B grade specials.
One of the things I did want to say is we're going to continue getting up on the hill early and setting up our little tent and stuff up there and put on an esky. So I had esky with beers and a bit of hydroplay and some soft drinks and up there, and everyone just helped themselves. More than happy to do that again. Also, I've just shared with my great friends at eCycling, I'm investing in a little thing that I can plug in the back of the PA, and I can plug in a speaker up on top of the hill. So we'll have commentary up on top of the hill as well. So that'll be exciting. So keep
fantastic.
bringing the crowds.
That sound should carry over towards the netball court and South Sydney training centre. So the entire sort of Hefron Park community can tune into racing.
Absolutely.
Well, that's right, because if they're not tuning in here, we know we've got listeners in Perth and London and Brisbane and everywhere else.
And just on that, last week's podcast, biggest number of views we've ever had.
Must be about 6
Look
views.
out,
I didn't
Chris
realize.
Miller.
I didn't realize I was watching it so many times. I must have accidentally had it on repeat at home or something. Because the best story I can give about this podcast is I know how much my wife loves it. Because when she kind of brings up dinner parties that we do the world's #1 rated cycling podcast for Tuesday Night Heffron, she points out that she's actually never seen an entire episode. She said, "I've never watched it." She's never watched it. She goes, "Look, I hear him talking away in the room for hours, and I hear him editing the damn thing." And she's just like, "I'm not watching that." So that's why I love doing this show. And it's and things she'll never know that I've told the world that she's never watched an episode.
Oh, my wife watches it. No, she loves it. She doesn't like being tied to the chair to have to watch it, but
exactly. So shout out to the Coates' grandparents and all that who are no doubt watching it. Every
my wife
week.
watches as well.
We got another viewer.
We've got another viewer. All righty. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to you joining us next week. We'll see you on the start line on Tuesday night. Time to get your entries in, and that includes everyone.
Yes,
I know
everyone.
John's more than happy to give the shout out before the race starts about those who get a little lazy.
I also want to make a special mention to 4 different Edward Brits tonight.
So get your entries in. Also ensures that you can get voted Chargrill Charlies Rider of the Week. And so until then, gentlemen, as always, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully Paul Craft will be back on deck next week. But until then,
see you next
See you next Tuesday.
Kick to the right. Will, up to the side. That's it.